Good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the Sugarman Sports Complex, the setting for our second broadcast of the day here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel after we were just broadcasting the sights and sounds of the girls volleyball straight set victory against Garfield. Tonight, it's the Fort Lee Bridgman boys soccer team taking on Ridgefield Park in a Big North American Division showdown. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Long, once again joined alongside Dimitri Nanis and Kelly Lane on the camera. We're so glad that he could join us here to support these student athletes at Fort Lee. So the Bridgemen come in off a tough loss in a divisional contest their last time here at home. They lost 3-1 against Dwight Morrow on Tuesday night. Now they get right back into the thick of things here against Ridgefield Park in a league showdown here tonight. And again, not only is it important because of the league standings, even though now Fort Lee is back in second place and not in a share of first place, but this has more implications for the postseason in terms of the state playoffs. Coming into today's game, North won Group 3 power points. Fort Lee would be right outside the playoff picture. The top 16 teams qualify for the postseason. Fort Lee with power points, 17th. 10 points away from the last playoff spot that right now is being occupied by Riverdale. So the Bridgemen don't have the luxury of dropping any of these type of contests, let alone a league showdown here late in the season. If Fort Lee wants to qualify to play in the North 1 Group 3 playoffs, they have to get results and have to do so against a team in Ridgefield Park who are 3-7-1 on the season. So this is an opportunity. Fort Lee is going to be the favored team. They have to get the result here tonight if they want to, again, qualify for the state playoffs. As I said, Ridgefield Park 3-7-1 on the season. They're coming in off a 3-0 defeat against Cliffside Park in their last match. The thing that, though, stands out, Ridgefield Park, 2 of their 3 wins of the season against the very same Dwight Morrow team that swept Fort Lee in their 2 meetings this season. So we will find out how everything transpires here this evening under the lights. Ridgefield Park in their road white uniforms with the red numerals. Fort Lee donning their signature pink uniforms here in the month of October in support of breast cancer awareness with the black numerals. And we are underway here under the lights of the Sugarman Sports Complex. Thanks for joining us here in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Been a nice, comfortable day outside. 64 degrees at opening kick here today, as it will be a throw-in the defensive end for Fort Lee. Elias Alkin will be in goal for Fort Lee, the sophomore. And Samir Varela, the senior, in net on the other end for Ridgefield Park. As that is knocked out of play. Last meeting between these two sides came on October 11th of last season in 2022. Fort Lee won 4-0 on the road at Ridgefield Park. They also won here 3-2 at the Sugarman Sports Complex, sweeping away the Scarlets last season. A little bit of a misplay in the back defensive end. Conta lost his footing, but his teammates came back to cover up his vacated spot. So now Fort Lee with the long ball down the near side, trying to free up Daniel Lee, number 9, who could not race in after it, as that'll go out of bounds for a throw-in. Ridgefield Park began their season with only 1 win in their first 7 matches. But as I mentioned, 2 of those 3 total wins on the season have come against Dwight Morrow, defeating them twice by 2-1 margins. Stolen away by Nicholas Ortiz, number 7. Ortiz spreading the ball from the service wide to the far side. Chipping it forward, but no one on the other receiving end of it, as that'll roll out of bounds for an ensuing goal kick for Fort Lee. As I kind of mentioned in that last game, for Fort Lee against Dwight Morrow, sometimes just it's a game of matchups that you don't match up as well with certain opponent, just their playing style or the complement of players on their roster. Fort Lee struggled with Dwight Morrow, while Dwight Morrow struggled mightily with Ridgefield Park. We'll see what Fort Lee can do here against the Scarlets this evening. Dartley getting a touch of it. Played back into the midfield. Wearing number 20 is going to be Kaito Shinoda. Shinoda normally dons number 10, wearing number 20 in the pink uniform. He had the goal against Dwight Morrow that leveled the game at 1-1. It was 1-1 at the half. Dwight Morrow was the better team in the second half, and they propelled themselves to 2 second-half goals on the way to the 3-1 road victory. Stolen away here by Fort Lee and over to the midfield to Dartley. Dartley, number 26, with 3 tallies on the season, as that softly rolls its way back to Samir Varela. 66 saves on the season coming in to play today for Varela, who just outlets it with a throw to the far side. To the midfield it goes to Orlando Perez. And now a throw in, as Fort Lee will gain the possession near midfield. After having everything sorted out, they play it wide. But a little too wide, as that was stepped out of bounds. The playoff cutoff date is coming up October 21st, so time is of the essence again. The top 12 results in regards to a team's power points are the deciding factor of who makes the field of 16. So even if you play more than 12 games between the start of your season to October 21st, the state only recognizes your top 12 power point producing games to decide if you are in the 16-team field. Tip forward, good defensive work there, and that time Alkin doing a good job of swallowing up that space to the near side. Credit the play of Kenta Watanabe of slowing down the advance there of Ortiz, who was trying to really push his way forward for maybe a breakaway opportunity. As that's knocked out of play, last touch off of Ridgefield Park. It'll be a throw in now for Fort Lee. Richmond averaging 1.4 goals per game on offense this season. They have been starved for goal production. As it comes out to the near side. Dartley drawing 3 different white-clad defenders, yet still dribbling away from trouble. Now here's a breakout for Fort Lee. They tried a centering ball. That was skewered away by the defense. Good possession right now for Fort Lee, but no shots to speak of. Just the beginning of this game, just over 5 minutes into the start of this first half. Cliffside Park now all by their lonesome in first place in the American Division with a 4-1 divisional record. Fort Lee in second with a 3-2 mark. Dwight Morrow behind them with a 3-3 record. Ridgefield Park 2-3, and Dumont 1-4 in league play. Settled down to the near side by Patrick Santiago, number 9. As the Scarlets, not enough zip on that pass from Perez. Stolen away by the Bridgemen. They try to break it out to the far side. Dartley been doing a lot of dribbling here in the opening vestiges of the first half. They try to get it to Dartley right near that corner flag on the far side. Once again, tipped out of bounds. Last touch off of the defense. So it's going to be a deep throw in right near the corner flag, as getting right back in the course of play is Fort Lee. They chip it over the back line. Lee will try to run it down to the near side. He services it over to the far side, post side. No one in pink really over in that general vicinity, and now Ridgefield Park will just try to chuck it down the far side of the field. And Fort Lee has had a much better start to this game than they did in the last game against Dwight Morrow. They've been holding possession on offense a little bit more. But what's evaded them is those shot opportunities, trying to get it on goal quickly and test Varela in the early goings. That's a nice ball for Ridgefield Park. Here's now a shot opportunity on the run, and Ortiz just slithers it and slides it wide to the far right side. That was dangerous for Nicholas Ortiz, number 7, wearing the captain's armband. The senior midfielder, 5 goals, 3 assists for 13 points on the year. He had a 2-goal barrage against Bogota back on October 6th. And Ortiz doesn't need that much room to roam, as he was hit in stride with that pass and then just in one fell swoop tried to shoot on the run. But he missed well wide to the far right side. It was the first real quality scoring opportunity for either team here tonight. Dartley shifts it over to the near side. Watanabe trying to get it back to him. Lee has to be careful. They get it down the field, and it's going to be Marcus Lee trying to settle in underneath it. Played wide once again as Fort Lee trying to get close to the offensive box. Ridgefield Park trying to shield them off, and that was dangerous defending. But eventually it is corralled by Varela. Top team in power points for North 1 Group 3 coming into play today, Mount Olive. The Marauders would be the 1 seed. Number 2 would be Ramapo. Old Japan 3, Tenafly 4, and Northern Highlands 5. The top 5 seeds if the playoffs started today for North 1 Group 3. And again, Fort Lee just outside the playoff picture. And inside, there's an opportunity. And tripped up. Is it going to be a penalty? And it looks like it is. Foul going to be coming against Fort Lee. Alcan was trying his best to get to that opportunity. Ortiz once again cut through the back line of the defense of Fort Lee. And when he shifted to go get another shot opportunity, he actually got tripped up by the Fort Lee netminder. And now this leads to a penalty kick opportunity for Ridgefield Park, as the Scarlets have a golden chance here to take the lead. Patrick Santiago, the junior, will be handling the spot on this PK. What a save on the far side. A dazzling stop there. Elias Alcan, he got a beautiful jump on that one. He was anticipating far post side. He was able to range over to that far post, snag it, and have no rebound whatsoever as well. So after in the last game, Alcan had a first goal that he gave up against Dwight Morrow that he desperately would want back. That was maybe his finest save of the season. And he keeps this game scoreless after making that save on the penalty kick. So the foul went against him, and then he stands tall in goal and makes up for that mistake. Now will that spark the offense here for Fort Lee as the Bridgemen look for a little space? Lee trying to track down the possession to the near side after Venareo, Brandon Venareo, number 11, had taken it out of his own defensive end. Taken to the midfield by Shinoda, passing it over to the near side to Ben Kang. That one is ricocheted and deflected out of bounds. Will be a throw-in as Fort Lee trying to go quickly here, but it looks like they actually are going to be bringing on 2 new subs, and 1 new sub will come into the game as well for Ridgefield Park. Just over 10 minutes gone by in this game, and we've already seen a highlight reel stop by the Fort Lee goalie. Elias Alcan did an amazing job of robbing Patrick Santiago of a penalty kick finish. And that ball was struck with some force and velocity as well. But Alcan again got an incredible jump and break, ranging over to his left to make the save. As that harmlessly rolls back to Varela. Came a little too high off of Santiago's arm. It's going to be a handball. So possession in the restart now back to Fort Lee. Nice spin move by Dartley. Again, for Dartley, he might have been given the benefit there of a late foul call. So it's going to be a free kick set up now for Fort Lee. Dartley has shown a nice touch of dribbling, but I think he's dribbling a little too much. He's got to get his teammates incorporated and even just get some shots up. Here might be the first real shooting opportunity for Fort Lee here this evening. Dartley quickly takes it underneath the wall, and it gets skewered and saved to the right side. That'll go out for a corner kick on the near corner flag, but Dartley did a good job of just deceiving Ridgefield Park a little bit. He was looking like he was going to take his time. Instead, quickly got to work, slid it underneath and through the wall, and that's a force Varela to make a save. Here's a corner kick on the near side for Fort Lee. Still scoreless here in the first half. And now it looks like the official running with Dartley off to the far side of the field. So now it looked like an assistant coach was shown a yellow card as well. I don't know what is going on. Dartley was running off the field and had to be taken off. He was escorted by one of the officials, who then went over and administered a yellow card to one of the assistant coaches for Fort Lee. This is all before coming on a Fort Lee corner. Bridgman quickly take the corner. Over to the near side. Trying to center the ball up top. They have a receiver open, and that time that shot is ricocheted off to the far side. It looked like Grant Kang was the one who received the pass at the top of the box. Couldn't get it cleanly through the defense that time, Ridgefield Park. Good job of tracking back and deflecting that shot opportunity out of bounds. Deflected, still loose in the box. Pass is open. Here's a one-timer finish attempt, and just off the mark. Shinoda was all in by his lonesome. He tried a beautiful volley in midair. Just couldn't connect on the other end of that brilliant pass. And that'll go out for a goal kick. So Fort Lee is bringing the offensive pressure the last couple of possessions. And that shot from up top on a set piece, and then that give and go look almost a thing of brilliance for Shinoda. 3 goals, 4 assists for him on the season. Michael Conta sending it long. Ball left behind, taken in by Vagapov. Desimil Vagapov knocked off the ball. Ball was loose, now taken in by Venareo. Fort Lee again with a constant pressure. They hook that one, and that goes well wide off the foot of Landon Kaplan. But if you're head coach Demba Main, you're very happy with how your team is starting to not only win possession, but also generating shot opportunities, even if they're not on target. You just want to get the shots out there. You want to move the goalie. You want to see what could possibly happen. This Ridgefield Park side has surrendered 30 goals this season in 11 games. That's giving up just under 3 goals per contest to opponents. Scarlets win back the possession. Santiago over to the near side. Back to Santiago with a given goal attempt. Deflected around. It's precariously out in front in the box area. Ridgefield Park doing a good job of trying to maneuver through a couple of defenders. Paul Smalaj was the one who was trying to drag that from the right foot to the left foot, but couldn't get a shot opportunity. Vagapov could not settle it down on the far side. Good idea, but telegraphing it a little too much in a slower pass. Ridgefield Park got a piece of it. As that caroms out of play to the far side, and will slowly meander its way out of bounds. And It's going to be a throw-in deep in their own end. It looks like that might be the case for Ridgefield Park. 15 minutes gone by here in a scoreless first half of play. Thanks so much for joining us on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Again, it has been our own personal doubleheader. Starting off this afternoon over at East Gymnasium at the high school to see the girls volleyball team improve to 15-3 on the season. 2-0 win against Garfield in a non-conference game. And now coming here to the Sugarman Sports Complex under the bright lights. Again, the defensive work has been a struggle, but they're actually going to call a foul against Ridgefield Park. And I think that is a generous call, as Fort Lee seems like they were also tugging at the jersey as well. Dylan Muhammad, the senior midfielder, was incredulous at that call. So the call goes against the visitors. Fort Lee with the possession. Long ball the other way as Varela comes out. So again, our own personal doubleheader, and special thanks again to Dimitri Nanis, who's been our producer on both broadcasts, and to Kelly Lane, who also has been the camera operator for both contests. So glad and proud to be able to show off the student athletes here at Fort Lee. Sent over to the near side. Killian Connors. Connors playing it up top to Ortiz. Now Muhammad playing it backwards. Here's Ortiz. He drew the contact that led to the penalty kick. Santiago, though, was bested at the spot. Here he is now, trying to make amends, trying to settle it down inside the scoring area. Blockered away by Fort Lee. Good defensive work. Not out of harm's way just yet, but tracking back to get a possession and get a clip of that was Blanco, number 17. So Fort Lee now breaks out, looking for a counterattack. Knocked down here, Kaplan. Trying to chip it forward. Shinoda goes wide with it to the far side, and it's just going to have a little too much on it as it'll roll its way out of bounds for an ensuing goal kick. Looks like one of the players for Ridgefield Park a little shaken up. Might be helped out to the side so that a sub can be made. Looks like that might be Elliot Ramos, number 15, one of the senior defenders. Played to the near side. Connors plays it forward. Both teams just jockeying for position now in the midfield. Finally, it's Ben Kang playing it down to the near side of Agapov. Lost his balance, but it was cleared out of bounds to the near side off of Ridgefield Park, so it will result in a throw-in deep in the offensive third for the home side Bridgman. 5-6-1 on the season, try and get back to 500 on the year and keep their playoff hopes alive to play in the sectional playoffs. There's a chip shot from a bad angle, and it still nearly found its way into the back of the net. Good opportunity there once again for Fort Lee. Fort Lee needs to start getting positive results at this point in the season. As I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, right now, coming into play today, they'd be the first team out of the playoffs. They are ranked number 17 in the field of North 1 Group 3. Top 16 qualify for the postseason. Played forward. But Fort Lee not able to knock it down and maintain the possession. Only 2 years removed from magical year in 2021 that saw Demba Maine's side pick up a county tournament win, as well as then a later on sectional playoff win on their way to a 12-win campaign. Played wide to the far side. Propelled forward and out of play. Into the midfield it goes and played forward. Couple more subs about to come into the game for Coach Demba Main. Last season, the Burgemen finished 8-9-2 overall on the year. They qualified for the North 1 Group 3 playoffs, lost to Montville 3-1 in the opening round. A throw in. And just trying to get a flick and get some leverage. That'll help matters for Fort Lee. That was a foul whistled against Ridgefield Park. So possession remains with Fort Lee. They are in the pink and black. In the white and red is Ridgefield Park. Calling back the Ridgefield Park player who was venturing a little too far for the officials' liking down that far sideline. As it came back to the feet of Ethan Espino, number 21, freshman defender. Played forward by Ridgefield Park as they look to orchestrate a counterattack. Ortiz trying to slip that one back behind to Garcia. Fort Lee with a good defensive work, rallying back and now leading to this eventual goal kick. As I mentioned in that 2021 season, Fort Lee went 12-7 and eventually went to the North 1 Group 3 quarterfinals where they lost to Ramapo, one of the traditional state powers in boys lacrosse. Boys soccer, I should say, and also boys lacrosse, but trying to feed that one inside the middle of the box as Fort Lee goes back to track that down. But Fort Lee would just love the opportunity to once again play in the postseason. They have to get to work here. They've had a tough time of it at points here against Ridgefield Park. Now the Scarlets trying to orchestrate a little possession on offense. Ortiz has been all over the field. Connor's trying to feed it back to him. Number 7, so much energy in the tank. He'll win back the ball in the midfield, play it all the way back to his defense. Now Fort Lee trying to administer a little pressure as well on that back line. And that leads to the misplay and the mispass. So that turnover will give possession back over to Fort Lee and might be something that Coach Demba Main's going to be looking at going forward. You put a little more pressure on that Ridgefield Park back line, they might be prone to having some more of those errant passes. Trying to get to that was Talapian. Mission Talapian, number 5, just couldn't get it cleanly. That allows now Ridgefield Park to get the ball back in the offensive third. Trying to link up to Garcia. Wunyaradze Garcia, number 17, a freshman forward. Under 15 minutes now left to go in a scoreless first half. Drop down to the midfield. Over to the far side it goes. Played wide to the far side. Now centering ball. Good build up here. Kaplan didn't get a shot opportunity. Here's a shot from distance, and That just missed wide to the right side, but credit to Lappian for uncorking that opportunity. Fort Lee, again, has had a nice job of, and been doing a nice job of the build-up. It's been the finish that they have just not really been able to do. Not a lot of goals to speak of this season for Coach Demba Main's Bridgman. They have only scored more than 2 goals in one game this season, and that was a game where they gave up 7 in a 7-3 defeat against Tenafly. Again, Kanta making a misplay defensively, but no real clean shot opportunity that time for Santiago. Might have been getting checked a little bit from behind, and then when he tried to get that shot off, it had no velocity whatsoever. There's Kaplan now, quickly firing it down the other way. But off his line to take care of that business was Varela. Fort Lee's back defensive line has been susceptible to a couple of big passing plays here tonight. They have not been victimized, though. Good ball that time, spreading it to the far side. Chip shot attempts right in front of the goal mouth, and that'll harmlessly roll its way out of bounds, but not over the end line. That goes out of bounds to the near side, so it's going to be a throw-in right to the left side of the corner flag for Ridgefield Park, deep in their own defensive end. Killian Connors, senior defender, handling that throw-in. So now a couple more subs. Coach Demba Main has been subbing liberally throughout the course of this first half, trying to have fresh legs to maybe bring his team to a lead and certainly be able to finish this one off later on in the second half. Turnaround pass, nobody there. Sun back forward, knocked down briefly by Daniel Lee. Now chested down. Tommy Geppergu was trying to get to it, number 15. Played along the near side to Lappian. As it knocked off his boot last, be a throw-in now for Ridgefield Park. And Santiago lurking behind that back line. Finding Ortiz. Ortiz spreading the wealth to the far side. Now back to the dangerous number 7. Fort Lee propelling it forward. Not a lot of offense to speak of. Ridgefield Park this season averaging 1.5 goals per game. They've scored 16 goals on the year, but like I said, have been known to give up some goals in bunches as well. They're giving up 2.7 goals per game this season. From distance that time, good job there by Alkin of handling it on the one hop. As he'll slow down the pace of this game a little bit as we're coming up on the final 10 minutes of the first half. Out of the top of the box. Santiago passing off to the far side. There's a chip shot attempt, and that goes a little too high and wide. That'll go out for a goal kick. Prior to Tuesday night's loss against Dwight Morrow, Fort Lee had won their last 2 in a row. They defeated Dumont 2-1, and then Ridgefield 2-1 in the Bergen Invitational Soccer Tournament. Fort Lee was back in the Bergen Cup this year, but lost in their first game of the Bergen Cup. Last season, the Bridgemen advanced to the Bergen Cup semifinals. Played wide with it. Stolen away by Fort Lee to the far side, but then they pass it right out of bounds. So possession We'll see if it's going to go back to Ridgefield Park or if they say that is a deflection. Under 9.5 minutes left to go in a scoreless first half. Ridgefield Park in the last 5 minutes has had a nice little boost, generating offensive opportunities, shots off the mark, but offensive opportunities nonetheless. Here's Dartley in the open field. Here's a breakout and the counterattack opportunity for Fort Lee. They take the shot from distance and nearly cleaning it up on the near side, making a near post run was Vagapov. That goes out of play, and nearly that initial shot also had enough on it to slide its way past Varela into the back of the net. And if Vagapov maybe had a couple more steps, he would have had a wide open tap-in finish. But alas, he could not get to it in time, and it remains scoreless. Played up top to Ortiz. Stolen away and played to the far side by Muhammad. But a little too far as that goes out of bounds in front of the Fort Lee sideline. It's the midst of a long homestand for the Bridgemen. Their next time out, they'll be hosting Riverdale. We'll also host Hasbrook Heights on October 21st before traveling to arch rival Cliffside Park on the 23rd. And finishing up the regular season here at home against Passaic Valley on October 25th. Work to be done here to get into the postseason. Fort Lee trying to get something here. There's a shot. Varela makes the save, popped it to himself, and now orchestrates the quick outlet. So the Bridgemen are starting to come here more and more consistently offensively. Got a couple of shots. That time a shot on target that forced Samir Varela, the senior, to make the save to keep this a scoreless game. Over to the far side. A little pushing and shoving going on with players jockeying for position, and eventually it's going to be a foul whistled against Fort Lee. Wananami getting to that. Foul whistled against Fort Lee defending. Set piece opportunity here for Ridgefield Park. Be a long distance offering. Kenny Kurasic, number 20, will line it up from the 35-yard line. Playing that forward, and it actually looks like it got headed backwards by Fort Lee, and that will be the case. It will go out of bounds for a corner kick for Ridgefield Park, taken to the near left corner flag. Corner kick upcoming for the Scarlets, trying to strike for the first goal of the game. The far side, there was someone who had it fall at their feet, but they couldn't get a good clean shot off as that caroms out of bounds for a goal kick. Again, if you're just joining us, fans, Ridgefield Park drew a penalty kick early in this first half, and Fort Lee was saved by the great play and the great save of Elias Alkin. Dove and guessed correctly to the left side of his net. Made a save on a great penalty kick shot by Patrick Santiago. And that has kept this level at no score. Fort Lee has had a couple of prime offensive opportunities as well, but nothing to show for it. As we close in now on the final 5 minutes of the first half. Misplayed initially there by the Bridgemen, as Choi got down to it. Dartley couldn't shake free of the defender. Turnover forced by Ridgefield Park. Finding a filler over to the near side. That initial shot by Ortiz was deflected straight up in the air. And now the whistle goes against the visitors, so it's going to be a restart and a free kick upcoming for Fort Lee. Two wins against Dwight Morrow and a win against Pagoda, accounting for the 3 wins on the season for Ridgefield Park. Again, they were shut out in their last contest 3-0 by Cliffside Park. A team that Fort Lee defeated here at the Sugarman Sports Complex in their most impressive win of the season, 2-1. Back on September 26th. Foul against Ridgefield Park. Quick restart taken by Fort Lee. Trying to leave the ball for Dartley in the box. Dartley shifting around a couple of defenders. He's getting closer and closer. Can he get the ball to the goal? Dartley again takes the shot, tips in and scores! Fort Lee with the tally with 3.5 minutes left to go before halftime. Dartley was shifting gears left and right and didn't know if it was actually going to lead to a possible finish. And it looks like that will be a goal. And Fort Lee takes the early 1-0 lead. Looks like it might have been Matasia Ropaic, the senior who scored the goal. It was work of brilliance in that far side by Dartley. He dribbled through almost the entirety of the defense for Ridgefield Park, then left it right out in front for a tap-in finish. So Fort Lee takes the lead just before halftime. They stake themselves out to a 1-0 advantage. Before that, it was kind of funny, too, just to hear the groans of all the faithful for Fort Lee soccer in front of us in the press box area, just urging someone to take a shot and not just dribble. Well, it worked out perfectly in the end that the dribbling allowed the space and then the tap-in finish. Now Ridgefield Park trying to strike for a late equalizer of their own here at the end of the first half. Free kick's going to be taken from midfield by Espino. Chip forward and just shielding off that attacking player was the defense of Fort Lee. That'll go out of bounds and result in a goal kick. First meeting of the season between these two sides. They were originally supposed to meet earlier this season, but the match was canceled, as that is a line drive outlet down the way that hit into the feet of Marcus Lee. Fort Lee not able, though, to track it down to the near side as we're approaching the final 90 seconds of the first half. We don't know when the return trip to Ridgefield Park's going to be, as that has not been scheduled just yet. Over to the near side. Played forward as Garcia hit the deck when he was trying to get to it. A collision ensues on the far side, but sweeping it out of harm's way was Fort Lee. Nice job defensively there when things were getting a little hairy. Good work in the midfield to retain possession. A little slow roller of a pass, though, was gobbled up by Ridgefield Park. Kaplan will settle things down, garnering the possession over to the near side. Now to Kang. Kang has his pass, blocked right back to him. Here's Kaplan. Curling inside, Kaplan with a left foot. Varela makes the save, diving over to the near post side. Fort Lee generating great offense here in the final 5 minutes of the half. Nearly extended their lead just before the break. That was a great shot opportunity by Landon Kaplan. Under 20 seconds remaining before halftime. Ortiz with time wasting. Wants to get that right back into the top of the scoring box. Conta left it behind. Again, it was out in front. Fort Lee will clear it out of bounds to the far sideline, and the buzzer will sound, ending the first 40 minutes of action. And Fort Lee has earned themselves a one-goal lead heading into halftime as the Bridgemen take control near the end of the first half. We head to halftime as you're watching Fort Lee Bridgemen Soccer here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, here inside the Sugarman Sports Complex in Fort Lee, New Jersey, under the bright lights on a Thursday night. As we're moments away from the resumption of play in the start of the second half, Fort Lee leads Ridgefield Park 1-0 on a goal with under 5 minutes left to go in the first half by Matasia Rapaic. Senior scoring the goal off the assist, it looked like from Naoki Dartley, and both teams had great scoring opportunities throughout the course of that first half. None better than Ridgefield Park earning a penalty kick. But Elias Alkin did a heroic job of saving it, preserving at that point still a scoreless game. And then Fort Lee found the eventual first goal of the contest just before the break. Fort Lee in their home pink here in the month of October, the black shorts. And the all-road white with the red numerals is Ridgefield Park. This is a big North American Division League game. Fort Lee trying to improve to 4-2 in league play this season. Their only 2 defeats have come against Dwight Morrow. Good ball inside the box. It bounced around, hit off the back, it looked like, of one of the attacking players for Fort Lee. And possession is still won back by the Bridgemen. They can't link up that pass, and it goes out of bounds and will result in a goal kick. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by Dimitri Nanis, our producer, and Kelly Lane, our camera operator. Glad you could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. We're bringing you the sights and sounds of the boys and girls soccer games here from Sugarman Sports Complex this fall, as well as the coverage of the girls volleyball season from East Gym. This is our second broadcast of the day. Earlier this afternoon, we covered the girls volleyball team winning against Garfield. Now trying to make it a successful doubleheader, as Fort Lee trying to once again produce a win here at home. They are 3-3-1 on the season here at home, 2 of 3 on the road. Playing backwards is Ridgefield Park, trying to produce their 4th win of the season themselves. Choi trying to pass it to his teammate, actually got it flicked off the back ankle after his teammate nearly collided with one of the referees. That was a fortuitous bounce going Fort Lee's way, as Ridgefield Park just clears that out of play, and that goes out for a goal kick. After this game today, Ridgefield Park will head back home and host the Spartans of Paramus High School on October 17th. They then will travel to Dumont, host Westwood, and travel to Teaneck as well. A little bit of a misplay in the back line. Fort Lee trying to come back and track it down. It was dangerous there as Santiago was getting close. He is frustrated as he just wails the ball into the back fencing and plays it wide out of play. Once again, Santiago was the man who was denied on the penalty kick. That time the ball just bounced right to him. Looked like he was going to have a point-blank shot opportunity against the goalie. Just couldn't get to it as it was cleared out of harm's way at the last second. It does lead to a corner kick, though, for Ridgefield Park in the far side corner. Curling ball in the box. Ridgefield Park were trying to say that maybe that was a handball, but it was touched out of bounds. Last touch off of Fort Lee, but not a handball. Once again, it's going to be a corner for the Scarlets, trying to strike for an equalizing goal early in the start of the second half. Bounces around a couple of times as Ortiz tries to post up his defender, and now a whistle sounds, and it looks like it will be a foul against Watanabe and Fort Lee. So now another set piece upcoming. So Ridgefield Park has had a pair of corners, and now a free kick here from around the 15-yard line. Going to force Fort Lee to do some good defensive work right now. Comes back outside to Ortiz, and that is a hard deflection off the face of Kaplan. Hopefully he's going to be okay as he gets up to his feet. That one's going to sting as he was coming right out to Ortiz, and Referee was looking at him to see if he's okay and he can continue on, and it looks like that is going to be the case for Landon Kaplan. Kaplan is okay, trying to shake that one off. That'll wake you up a bit. As now the Bridgman with Grant Kang coming down the near side. Playing it off to Shinoda. Shinoda trying to split the double team. He does, takes the shot with the defender acting as a screen in front of him and nearly slid it by the near post side. Just goes out of bounds and will end up as a goal kick for Varela. Knocked down to the near side. Here it goes to Dartley. Dartley has a chance one-on-one, takes the shot, and it gets deflected out of bounds. They'll say that that was clearly just taken off the foot of Dartley, so that goes out of bounds. That could have been that second goal that, in a game like this, Fort Lee gets out to a 2-goal margin. That's going to feel even bigger than 2 goals. They have had 2 great opportunities in the last 2 shots. Neither one has landed on target, though. Fort Lee with a pair of players actually colliding with one another. And that leads to a breakout and a counterattack the other way for Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee's got to get back defensively as the Scarlets now attacking the open field. Sliding that into the box area. Now Santiago taking it near the end line. Still maneuvered and went out of bounds eventually for the goal kick. They will actually say that is in fact a corner, so after Alkin was holding on to it, getting ready to maybe drop kick this one away. It was last touch off of Fort Lee, so a 3rd corner already in the second half alone for Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee just missed a glorious opportunity to stretch their lead to 2-0. It comes over now to the near side. Elliot Ramos. Ramos centering ball, chested by Talapian. Over to the near side. Fort Lee not taking any chances. Will just skewer it out of bounds to the near side. More offensive zone possession for Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee tracks it down, gets it all the way out to midfield. Now here's a breakout opportunity for Lee if he can get to it. Lee gets it deflected. Off of him last. Good play defensively there by Killian Connors. This game has opened up a little bit after a lot of that first half we saw was just being played in the midfield. Now more shot opportunities from both sides. Pass to the near side, but anticipated and stolen away by Fort Lee. Again, their forwards are playing up a little too much. They have to come back, Fort Lee's forwards. Try to make service to them in the midfield a little easier. Ridgefield Park is really starting to choke off possession a little bit more, playing aggressively and pinching in at midfield. Stolen away by Kaplan. Kaplan can't break the double team. Fort Lee trying to exit their zone. They do. There's Varela all the way out. Now he'll just wait for it to roll inside the box. That's going to allow him to pick it up and then throw it in an outlet to the far side of the field. There's a whistle, late challenge, and a foul against Fort Lee on the far side. Free kick upcoming for the Scarlets. Played forward. Knocked down with the side of the foot. Now out to Shinoda. Shinoda looking to launch Dartley. Dartley was behind the defense. Has a chance if he could settle it down. Ball was left behind just outside the box. Dartley will get to it. Play the 1-2 game over to the near side. Here's Fort Lee now with it in the near side wing. Played forward there by Grant Kang. Out in front. Dartley just couldn't get to it in time. Varela again is so quick at scooping up and then using his hands to roll it to the far side. Fort Lee's getting their opportunities. Can they cash in? And again, on what could be an enormous second goal. That would give them a little breathing room to operate here. They lead by 1-0. Closing in on 9 minutes gone by in the second half. Left up top. Kaplan Trying to give it to his teammate, Grant Kang, again running underneath it. Knocked out of play to the near side will be a throw-in now for Fort Lee. As Demba Main will go to his bench and once again bring on some fresh legs as he's been doing all game long. Dartley gets pushed down from behind. He's looking for the call. No call comes. Aggressive defensive work, but a misplay there. Choi got lucky. The junior was trying to be aggressive and come out against Muhammad, but he missed on him. Ball loose to the near side, and that goes out of play again off of Fort Lee, so it's going to be a deep offensive zone throw-in for Ridgefield Park. Both teams wasting a little time once they've gotten the possession, throw-ins or even free kicks. They're not taking time to set up. They just want to operate before the defense can have time to recover. Lee will track it down to the far side. Knocked out of bounds to the far side, so will be a throw-in now for Fort Lee. Bridgman trying to earn themselves a corner. And it looks like they have, so it's going to be a corner taken right in that far corner flag. Fort Lee orchestrates something here on the set piece. 10 minutes gone by in the second half. Again, they take it the short route with the pass. Now inside the box, trying to split a couple of different defenders, but Fort Lee again, they waste the opportunity to get a shot off. Knocked out of bounds off of Ridgefield Park. You're fine with changing up if that's really your game this year and you're not really confident in maybe your aerial passing and have something off a set piece. But if you're going to get it into the box, you got to at least try a shot. Test the keeper. Fort Lee trying to be a little too fine here, especially in the second half when they've had a couple of outstanding offensive opportunities. Trying to be a little too fine with their dribbling rather than taking shots. Just down to the near side. Ridgefield Park trying to track it down to the near side, and that was Brandon Argueta. Now stepping up. Ridgefield Park again trying to link up. Good defensive work here. That's going to be Grant Kang playing it up to the midfield. Shinoda. He was looking up to the heavens earlier on in this game after he had a unbelievable volley opportunity that he was trying to one-time into the back of the net for a goal. Didn't miss by much. Connors. Now Santiago in front of his own bench. And Fort Lee would need a result here. Ball comes all the way out. Keeper is well outside the zone, so he has to play with his foot. Dangerous challenge opportunity there for the Bridgeman. Long distance offering and read all the way right into the breadbasket. Fort Lee needs results if they want to try to jettison themselves into the field of 16 for the North 1 Group 3 playoffs. Time is a-wasting as the playoff cutoff is quickly approaching. October 21st, next weekend, is when the field is going to be set in stone. Playing wide to the far side. Centering ball. That was left behind on a bit of a dummy run there as Dartley was trying to maybe get it around to his teammate. Rapaic was the one, number 18 in pink, who scored the goal off of the Dartley assist near the end of the first half. And wide to the far side. But a little too long and out of bounds. That was Yerrick Blanco, number 17, was trying to retain possession for Fort Lee on the far side. To the near side. Deflected away. Rebek trying to track down the possession. That'll bounce its way all the way down to the opposing keeper. As Alcan will settle this. 25 minutes and change left to go here in the second half. Headed out of bounds off of Ridgefield Park. It will be another throw-in and another pair of new subs coming into the game. Now the whistle to restart play. Again, with 25 minutes left to go in the game. It was a golden opportunity again for Fort Lee inside the box. They rushed it a little bit there as Marcus Lee saw it bounce to his feet and tried to quickly maybe top that off to the near side. Ridgefield Park playing with fire a little bit defensively here. Good confident play defensively there by Kang. Kang plays it down to the near side. Rebek now in the open field. Has some position. Centering ball to the far side. Try to be knocked down in a volley in the offensive box. Could not get to it as it goes out of bounds, but last touch off of Ridgefield Park. Now to the near side. That offering again just a little too long. So Fort Lee is humming here. They're swarming trying to get that opportunity. Now to that far side, it's cleared forward by Fort Lee. They got numbers if they could get past that last defender, but they just can't as Lee cut off his run. Free kick. Ridgefield Park trying to win back that possession in the midfield. Fort Lee's had an answer when they've been pressed. Here come the Scarlets wide of the way. Looking to stretch it out to the far side. Laid back up top. Briefly a miss hit by Fort Lee. Still not out of harm's way just yet. Trying to get it back into the zone. Muhammad pops it up skyward to the near side. Argueta trying to get underneath it. Muhammad trying to turn and fire with it. Going to get out to space. It's played to the near side by Espino. Trying to track that down was Smalaja. Collision ensues, but no foul. Fort Lee just playing it forward again, deep into the defensive end for Ridgefield Park. We have to track back and recapture possession. They'll allow it to go out of bounds. Fort Lee leading 1-0. Nice play up top here, but again, too soft on the return pass. As that goes out of play to the near side, will be a throw-in, though, for Fort Lee. Coming up on the midway point of the second half. Fort Lee trying to make it 3 wins in their last 4 contests. Nice play by Shinoda. Feeding it off to the near side, but it was deflected at the last touch, and nearly a dangerous play there by Varela. He touched it so that it would not go past the end line, but in doing so, kept it back in the course of play, and Rapaic might have cashed in if he were just a step closer. He could have just tapped it into an empty net. You want to play fast, but maybe not too fast if you're Varela in the defense for Ridgefield Park. Here's Shinoda. Down in the middle of the field with the counterattack being produced here by Ridgefield Park. Muhammad, still nobody picking him up. Chested down on the outer edges of the box. Smajla playing it wide to Connors. Ridgefield Park nearly with a couple of Scarlets combining in to collide with one another. Muhammad got the step on his initial defender. Now playing it wide to himself, blessed with blazing speed. And that is just ricocheted, last touch out of bounds. Off to the near side. Last touch off of Muhammad. So good defensive work there by Fort Lee. Playing calm, playing composed. Despite a couple of long possessions here for Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee not able to cleanly clear it out that time. Good block there from space. Ridgefield Park was trying to get off a shot from about 20 yards out. Here's a lofted service to the far side, headed away. Good anticipation there by the Fort Lee back line. That hit into the hands of Shinoda. Now it's going to set up a free kick here for Ridgefield Park. 18:40 and counting left to go in the second half. 1-0 advantage for Fort Lee. Espino will handle the service with his left hand up in the air. Lofted, this could be dangerous, and it's a nice catch there right near the goal line. It had enough of a loft on it where you kind of started to think, all right, this might have a chance to really threaten at a goal. Good job of that delivery by Espino, the freshman. Fort Lee slowly playing it back to their keeper. They send it long to the far side and out of play. So in the last couple of minutes, Ridgefield Park has garnered back the momentum a bit in this game and have started to find a little more success and a little more room to roam on offense. No goal to speak of, though, in this game. Is one goal going to be enough? That's the question for Fort Lee. They'd feel a whole lot better about their chances if they could strike for another goal here in the second half. Turning around to the near side was Maxwell Asante. Play to the near side, but Garcia was not able to finish it off and win back the possession. The liner deflected out near midfield. Shinoda doing a nice job of turning on his defender, but he left the ball behind. So that's going to take away what he had built in a brief advantage. Kang has it deflect back to Shinoda. He's the man you want on the ball if you're Coach Demba Main and Fort Lee. A lot of pushing, no call as Shinoda looks over to the referee. That time, that is worthy of a foul and a whistle. No card shown, though, so it's simply going to be just a free kick upcoming for Fort Lee. Time will venture on. 16:25 and counting left to go. Quick restart and the free kick. That sails wide of the mark to the far left side. That'll go out for a goal kick. Popped up by Vagabov. Both teams trading header attempts. Vagabov trying to settle it down with a high kick. Good possession here for Fort Lee. Building up to the near side. Vagabov gets by that defender. Trying to get it up top, and no shot opportunity, but that's still going to earn Fort Lee an opportunity deep in the offensive third. Looks like it's going to be a corner kick taken to the near side. Looks like it might be Shinoda who's going to be handling this corner on the near side. Fort Lee's been electing to just take short kicks. This time it looks like they will loft it up to the far post side. Had a couple of pink-clad players inside the box, but the header was off the mark as it deflected off to the far side. Good change-up of strategy there for the Bridgemen, but they got what they wanted. They had a couple players inside the box with an opportunity, if they directed it more straight to the goal, maybe to have a scoring opportunity off of the corner, but instead it went off the side of the head and then deflected to the wide side out of bounds. Have to keep on attacking if you're Fort Lee. Marcus Lee got banged up there on the far side. Throw in for Ridgefield Park. Espino. As that one deflected by Vagabov. Nice defensive work in the midfield. There for the sophomore. Good build up down the near sideline, and it's going to be last touch off of Fort Lee last. Naoki Dartley got tripped up that time and drew the foul. Free kick upcoming for Fort Lee. Dartley, one of the senior leaders on this Bridgman side. They'll play it over to Dartley. Dartley takes a shot from deep, and that one has to be blocked away by Varela. So, right there, that's what I've been asking for throughout the course of the second half and really for the entirety of the game. If you're Fort Lee, let's see what the opposing goalie has to offer. That was a good shot, even though it was from far out. That had a little bit of a curl on it and also had some velocity, and Varela just had to skewer it away out of bounds. This sets up a corner kick. Now the referee going over to talk to the Fort Lee player who had moved briefly the corner flag. So now they're going to be able to set up the corner kick. Low-lining dribbler, and that was deflected, mishit out of bounds by Espino. So Fort Lee will do it all over again. Grant Kang this time, number 6, was the one who was handling the service. And it looks like, will they change it up? Looks like Vagabov is going to be the one to handle this corner kick now from the near side corner flag. Vagabov gets some air underneath it. Varela bouncing it off his hands. It's out in front. Dartley trying to drag it over. Here's a turnaround shot. Varela off his line makes the save on a bad angle shot. As it deflected, it's still going to be possession here for Fort Lee. But again, the Bridgemen are buzzing. They're trying to knock this game out. They've come so close on a number of occasions here in the second half to propelling themselves to a 2-goal lead. Popped inside, and this time it's going to be measured up and caught by Varela. Time starting to become a factor here for Ridgefield Park. Misplay defensively, though, by Fort Lee. That's going to open up the field a bit on the counterattack. But the Scarlets left the ball behind themselves. Connors with a quick restart will throw it in to the far side, but again, his teammate was not able to track it down as Nicholas Ortiz saw it go out of bounds. 11 minutes and counting as things have started to get a little cooler here tonight under the lights at the Sugarman Sports Complex. It's about 64 degrees at kickoff. Now starting to feel more like that autumn air. Off the shoulder and played forward. How aggressive does Ridgefield Park have to get now and really start to push that formation forward a bit? Maybe take a little more chances on their back line. Don't have the luxury of the time to just sit back and wait and try to counterattack. Popped up to the far side. Nice centering ball. Nobody lurking defensively on the near side. Here's Kang. Played up top to Dartley. Dartley dragging it down to the near side. Trying to deflect it off a couple of defenders and nothing brewing there. Morello trying to get it up top to his teammates. Knocked down to Garcia. Garcia over to Santiago. Santiago again, he was the one who was denied on a penalty kick that could have given his team a 1-0 advantage early on in the game. Handball against, or a foul I should say, against Santiago. It's going to be setting up a free kick here, the defensive end with under 10 minutes left to go in the game for Fort Lee. Bridgman knocking it down with their head at the midfield. Santiago turns and runs with it. Plays it wide to the far side in the box. Oh, good defensive work there to clean up what was about to be a very dangerous opportunity for Ridgefield Park. Headed by Choi over to the near side. Can't settle it down, though. Argueta getting to it. Out of bounds it goes, and it's going to be a resulting corner kick here for Ridgefield Park. So a prime goal-scoring opportunity presenting itself now for the Scarlets. 8:35 and counting left to go in our second half. Ridgefield Park trails by 1. A goal scored in the final 3 minutes of the first half accounts for the lone goal of this game. Driven across the middle. Fort Lee had a couple of defenders in the area to maybe get a piece of it. They didn't get it cleanly. Over the far side, a couple of chopping steps there by the defense. Good deflection and good aggressive play defensively. Pressing out to the far side perimeter. 8 minutes left to go in the game. Curled over to the near side. Ridgefield Park stepping up. And that's going to be a handball as that came up high on Brandon Argueta's near side arm. Free kick now for the Bridgemen. As Fort Lee again with a win would go to 6-6-1 on the season. 4-2 in league play in the American Division. And will be a much needed result for a win in their hopes of a playoff berth. Have to pile up as many wins as possible before the 21st of October to put themselves in that 16-team field. They're chasing after Riverdale, a team that they're actually going to be playing next year at home. So they have everything in front of them if they want to do some damage and get into the postseason. A win here today and then knocking off the Golden Hawks on the 17th would really do a great job for them. Now letting it down the near sideline with his throw. Kang to the midfield to Dartley. Vagapov. Stepping over. Nice play over to the near side of Dartley. Dartley, nice shifting gears here. Centering ball, kind of a flick off the side heel. Out to space as Fort Lee allows that to go out of bounds. A little more time wasting going on. 6:20 and counting left to go here in regulation. More subs going to be made. Wholesale changes, almost a hockey line change being performed by Demba Main as he has 3 new Bridgmen come onto the field here in the waning moments. Dartley will check off slowly. Couple more seconds for Dartley to make his way to the far side of the field. That's a senior knowing how to waste and shave off a couple of precious seconds as well. That goes out of play. Will be a goal kick. So Ridgefield Park, sensing that time is of the essence, they try to get it to their keeper as quickly as possible. 5.5 minutes left to go. Coming back up, Fort Lee just winning the possession in the midfield. Stepping up, here's Ridgefield Park playing a little more aggressively. Deflected out of bounds to the near side off of Fort Lee as we close in the final 5 minutes of play. Bridgman again having it out to the midfield, and Ridgefield Park just trying to send it in on long passes. Fort Lee has to make sure that they are sound defensively, don't take any unnecessary gambles, as the whistle will go against Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee again won both meetings a season ago. 4-0 at Ridgefield Park, 3-2 here at home. Not as many goals this time around. Only 1 goal so far this evening. It was almost around the same time in the first half when Fort Lee was able to score the lone goal and has staked them out to a 1-goal advantage. That was scored with just over 3 minutes left to go in the first. Kang trying to feed to the top of the box. Fort Lee trying to track it down. They'll play it all the way back to their keeper. Alcan over to the near side to Choi. Choi's pass was intercepted, but the ensuing carom last touched out of bounds off of Ridgefield Park. Again, Fort Lee is going to be in no rush to try to restart play. That time it caroms off of the side of Ben Kang. Ridgefield Park, how many more opportunities are they going to get here on offense? Dangerous ball. That's headed out of bounds for a corner kick. So here's a golden opportunity if you're Ridgefield Park. Set piece upcoming. They're going to load up the box as well. They're throwing everybody forward. Everyone but the goalie and 1 defender. Fort Lee steps up, clears it away. Sent right back in, and that time just caught and then falling forward to shave off a couple more seconds. Elias Alkin trying to close in on a clean sheet here today. Alkin had 8 saves in the win against Cliffside Park, a season best 12 saves in the game against Tenafly. He's been solid here this evening as well. Now played over to the near side. Argueta trying to go far post side on the one-timer look, and that might be the best opportunity that Ridgefield Park will get for the remainder of this game. And a reminder, fans, that Alcan also was the hero early on in this game when it was scoreless, and he saved and denied a penalty kick. He has his fingerprints all over this game right now for the Bridgemen. Played over to Daniel Lee on the far side. Lee trying to track it down. He earns the corner kick, and again, if nothing else comes from this, it's just more time that's being taken off the clock. Ridgefield Park trying to sit up the corner and the ball in the far side corner while Fort Lee is just slowly meandering their way to that far side. As we come up on the final 90 seconds of regulation. Bridgman taking their time. Now they serve it up. Floated home. Daniel Lee was waiting for the one-timer volley, but it just didn't get to him. Again, Fort Lee has to be sound defensively, getting a couple players back on side as we're closing in the final minute of this game. Headed backwards Fort Lee wasn't trying to look for that. A collision ensues between a couple of players that are both down at around the 45-yard line. Now it looks like it's going to be time called as the referee looks up and will freeze the clock with 55 seconds left to go. Argueta was down for Ridgefield Park. Could not see yet who was the player that's still down in pain for Fort Lee. As the trainer, Tom Herr, for Fort Lee will come out and look at both players. Both players were going up in midair to try to contest for that possession. And I don't know if heads collided with one another, and that's why they both are slow to get back to their feet. Looks like it might be Ishin Talapian, number 5, in pink for Fort Lee. And again, Argueta, who's actually having his leg looked at, was the player down for Ridgefield Park. 55.2 seconds left to go here in regulation in the second half. Fort Lee trying to salt away a 1-0 victory here at home. Argueta was helped back to his feet, but he's just trying to put some weight and stabilize on his leg and see if he's okay. And Talapian's okay for Fort Lee. He's slowly making his way, would expect, to the far side. Argueta has to be helped more off the field. And we hope both players are going to be okay after this is all said and done. So after all of this, again, 55 seconds left to go as we will resume play. It will be a drop ball situation here, and it looks like Fort Lee's going to be trying to just kick this out, kick this down the other side of the field. So the drop ball, that sends an opportunity to pop it up. Ridgefield Park trying to track it down from behind, but a foul is whistled. So a set piece upcoming now for Ridgefield Park. Time is of the essence, coming up on the final 40 seconds. Trying to motion everyone forward. Keeper is near midfield as well. That's a dangerous offering, but it caroms up and over the top left corner of the net, out of play. Under 30 seconds now left to go. Fort Lee will get ready with this goal kick, using one of their defenders now to send this back into the course of play. Under 20 seconds left to go in regulation. That is a boot all the way down to the 40-yard line. Maybe one final shot attempt if Ridgefield Park can get in shooting opportunity. 6 seconds over to the far side. That's going to be doing it. Fort Lee will chip it forward, and the Bridgemen will hold on to win here by the slimmest of margins. 1-0, a clean sheet on one side of the field for Elias Alkin. He was outstanding in goal, the sophomore making a monumental save on a penalty kick opportunity early in the first half. And then Fort Lee was able to score the winner by Matasia Rapaic with about 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Scoreless between both sides here in the last 40 minutes of play. And Fort Lee with an enormous win on the season. They go to 6-6-1 on the season, 4-2 in the conference. Ridgefield Park with a loss will fall to 3-8-1 and 2-4 in the American Division. So thank you everybody for tuning in on a long day of Fort Lee broadcasting here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel, but a successful doubleheader at that, as the Bridgemen volleyball and soccer teams are victorious in action this afternoon. So for Kelly Lane and Dimitri Nanis, I'm Dan Long saying so long from the Sugarman Sports Complex. Fort Lee finishes on top 1-0. Take care, everybody.